Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we peel back the layers of corporate filings to see what's really going on. Today we're diving into a shareholder meeting announcement, and let me tell you, this isn't just a dry invitation, it's a peek into how this company is run and who's calling the shots. Prepare yourselves, because we're about to decode the voting process for the Advent Convertible and Income Fund. We're looking at a proxy statement, which is basically a company's way of asking shareholders to grant permission for certain actions, usually to vote on their behalf at a shareholder meeting. Think of it as giving someone a temporary driver's license for your shares. This document is for the annual meeting of shareholders, which is like the company's yearly checkup. The big event is happening on September 24, 2025. It's important to note that this meeting is going to be held solely as a telephone conference call. That's right. No fancy in-person gatherings, just picking up the phone. This is a pretty common practice now, aiming to save costs and make it easier for shareholders everywhere to participate without travel hassle. But hey, if you want to be there, you'll need to register beforehand. The main event on the agenda is electing people to the Board of Trustees. These are the folks responsible for overseeing the company. We've got three nominees, Mr. Randall C. Barnes, Mr. Derek Medina, and Mr. Gerald L. Caesat. They're nominated for a 3-year term. The current board, and importantly the independent trustees, are all giving a big thumbs up to these nominees. This usually means they believe these candidates have the right experience and will act in the best interest of the shareholders. Now, who gets to vote? Well, that's determined by a record date, which is August 1, 2025. If you own shares on that day, you're eligible to vote. Even if you plan to join the call, it's a good idea to send in your proxy vote beforehand. It ensures your vote is counted and can save the company more money on further solicitations. Remember, no in-person attendance is allowed. If you want to join, you need to call Broadridge, the proxy services provider, before the deadline on September 20, 2025 to get the dial-in number. Make sure to have your control number handy, which you can find on your proxy card. This document is pretty important for understanding what's going on. It gives you all the details you need to make an informed decision about how to vote. The reason for the meeting is pretty standard for companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange, the NYSE. They have to hold an annual meeting to elect trustees, and that's what's happening here. As we mentioned, the board is strongly recommending a vote for all the trustee nominees. They believe these individuals are well qualified and familiar with the fund's operations. Shareholders of record as of August 1, 2025 are eligible to vote. Each share gets 1 vote. You can vote by mail using the proxy card or by phone or online. It's all about making sure your voice is heard even if you can't attend the call. The company chose a telephone conference call for the meeting to increase accessibility, reduce environmental impact, and save cost for everyone involved. It's all about making it easier for shareholders to participate from anywhere. To elect a trustee, you need a majority of the shares that are present at the meeting, either virtually or by proxy, and that are eligible to vote. As of the record date, August 1, 2025, there were 44,148,745 shares outstanding. This gives us a sense of the total voting power. Let's focus on the core proposal, electing the Class I trustees. The board is divided into 3 classes, and the class up for election this year are the Class I trustees. Mr. Randall C. Barnes, Mr. Derek Medina, and Mr. Gerald L. Caesat are seeking re-election. The other classes, Class 2 and Class 3, have trustees whose terms continue until future annual meetings. If elected, these trustees will serve for 3 years or until their successors are elected and qualified. This is a key point. Unless you specifically instruct otherwise, the proxies named on the card will vote for these nominees. If a nominee can't serve for some reason, the proxies can use their discretion to vote for a substitute nominee. Now take a look at this table. This is where we get to see who these people are. We see the names, addresses, and birth years of the trustees and officers. The business address for all of them is the same, 1888A 7th Avenue in New York City. Remember, the company itself is based in New York. This section details the independent trustees. These are the folks who aren't considered insiders of the company. Mr. Barnes has a background as a private investor and previously held senior roles at PepsiCo. His experience seems geared towards financial and strategic planning. Mr. Black is a managing partner at the Wix Group of companies and has a history in investment banking. His experience is heavily focused on finance and private equity. Mr. Medina recently retired, had a significant career as Executive Vice President at ABC News. His background includes legal and business affairs. Mr. Nyberg is currently off counsel at Momkus LLC, meaning he's a legal advisor. He also has extensive experience as a partner at a law firm and in asset management. Mr. Sazed is a managing partner at Heron Bay Capital Management and has a long history in asset management, including roles as CEO and board member at various firms. Mr. Smart is a partner at Dominus Capital and has a resume stacked with experience in private equity investment banking and as a board member for several companies. Ms. Stubbe currently serves as Director of Investor Relations at Interactive Brokers Group. Before that, she was a Senior Equity Analyst and Portfolio Manager at several asset management firms. And here we have the interested trustee. Mr. Maitland holds dual roles as Trustee, Chairman, President, and Chief Executive Officer of Advent Capital Management, which is the fund's investment advisor. The asterisk tells us he's an interested person because of his officer role at the advisor. The board is made up of 8 trustees, 7 of whom are independent. Mr. Daniel L. Black is the lead independent trustee, and Mr. Tracy V. Maitland is the chairperson. They've structured the board to have a good balance of independent oversight. The board's job includes overseeing the management of risks, which are managed day to day by the investment advisor and other service providers. The board works with committees like the Audit Committee and the Nominating and Governance Committee to keep an eye on things. They've identified several risks, including investment risks, credit risks, liquidity risks, and even regulatory risks. This table really breaks down the experience of each trustee. For instance, Mr. Barnes, with his PepsiCo background, brings financial, accounting, regulatory, and investment experience. Mr. Maitland's background as president and CEO of the investment advisor gives him deep insights into financial, regulatory, and investment matters. Mr. Medina's experience as a senior executive in news and as a lawyer suggests a strong grasp of regulatory, legal, and financial issues. Mr. Nyberg's combined legal and asset management background also points to expertise in financial and regulatory matters. Mr. Season's career in asset management, including CEO roles, highlights his experience in capital markets and investment strategy. With his experience in private equity and investment banking, Mr. Smart brings a broad financial perspective. Mr. Black's extensive leadership roles across banking and private equity suggest a very strong financial and management background. Mr. Barnes offers a unique blend of executive experience in large consumer companies and personal investment knowledge. Ms. Stubbe's role in investor relations and her analytical experience in asset management make her a valuable asset for understanding market communication and investment performance. Let's also glance at the executive officers. Stephen Elwood serves as Chief Compliance Officer and Secretary. His career includes roles in compliance at various investment firms. Tony Huang is Vice President and Assistant Secretary and also works as a co-portfolio manager at Advent Capital Management. Robert White is the Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer with a background in client service management at Goldman Sachs. The Audit Committee, made up of all the independent trustees, is tasked with selecting the independent auditors and reviewing accounting matters. They've reviewed the fund's financial statements and discussed them thoroughly with management and the independent auditors. All looks good on that front. The Nominating and Governance Committee, also comprised of all independent trustees, handles the crucial task of nominating candidates for the board. They are open to shareholder recommendations with specific requirements for how those recommendations should be submitted. They look for candidates with strong accomplishments and an impeccable ethical record, considering diversity as well. Now for a little peek at their own money. This table shows how much equity in the fund these trustees and officers own. It's a sign of their commitment. Mr. Barnes owns over $100,000 in equity. Mr. Black also owns over $100,000. Mr. Medina holds between $50,000, $100,000 and $100,000. Mr. Nyberg also has over $100,000 invested. Mr. Caesar similarly owns over $100,000. Mr. Smart's stake is between $50,000 and $10,000. Ms. Stubbe's investment is also in the $50,000 or $100,000 range. And Mr. Maitland, the interested trustee, also has over $100,000 in equity. It's good to see most of them have a significant stake, aligning their interests with other shareholders. The board held 7 meetings last fiscal year, and the committees also met a few times. It seems like they're actively engaged. Generally, trustees attended most meetings. There's a note about Mr. Tracy Maitland attending about 50% of board meetings and 43% of committee meetings. This is something to keep an eye on, but his role as CEO of the investment advisor might explain some of his schedule. Let's look at who gets paid what. The independent trustees received compensation ranging from $94,500 for $99,500 for the fiscal year. Mr. Daniel Black received the highest at $99,500. Mr. Maitland, as the interested trustee and CEO of the advisor, received no compensation directly from the fund. This is standard practice. Here's where we see who the major players are in terms of ownership. SIT Investment Associates Inc. is the largest shareholder, holding 9.9% of the voting shares. This is a substantial stake, and they're essentially a significant part of the shareholder base. The company states that all required ownership reports were filed on time. This is a good sign of regulatory compliance. The fund is committed to protecting your personal information, and they don't share it except when necessary to service your account. For those looking to submit proposals for future meetings, you need to get them in well in advance. For inclusion in the next year's proxy statement, proposals need to be received by April 17, 2026. The cost of soliciting these proxies is covered by the fund. Even employees of the investment advisor or servicing agent might help with this, but they won't get extra pay for it. The management doesn't expect any other major issues to come up, but if they do, the proxies will vote using their best judgment. And pages like this are simply there to provide spacing and don't hold any particular information. Now let's look at the Nominating and Governance Committee Charter. This document outlines the committee's responsibilities. Their duties include reviewing trustee compensation, establishing board policies, and generally overseeing the fund's governance. They also have a role in evaluating their own performance and the fund's management arrangements, making recommendations to the board. This section details how they find and evaluate new trustee candidates. They search for candidates, review qualifications, and develop policies for the nomination process. Shareholder recommendations are considered with specific criteria like ownership and qualifications. The committee also believes in diversity of backgrounds and experiences for the board. Interestingly, they have a policy that a trustee candidate cannot be nominated if their term would start after they've reached age 72. The committee meets at least annually and can consult with experts at the fund's expense. That's grow. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture here regarding Advent Convertible and Income Fund. This filing is focused on the upcoming shareholder meeting and the election of trustees. We don't see any specific financial performance numbers in terms of revenue or profit growth here in this particular document. The nominees is a strong endorsement. We also see that most of the trustees have a significant personal investment in the fund, which aligns their interest with those of ordinary shareholder meeting. Modern meeting Vithes unanimously recommends the nominees is a strong endorsement. We also see that most of the trustees have a significant personal investment in the fund, which aligns their interests with those of ordinary shareholders. The slightly lower attendance rate for Mr. Maitland, the interested trustee and CEO of the investment advisor, is something to note, but it's not necessarily a red flag. Given his executive responsibilities, the punt is also shareholder interests. The potential risks mentioned, like regulatory or market risks, are standard for the... What's your take on the trustee nominees and the fund's governance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this dive into corporate mechanics useful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns like this, and don't forget to join our Discord community, linked in the description, for even more discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Corporate Decoder.